Afternoon, everybody. Maxime Bernier is tweeting, and the gloves are off. But first, CanadaPoly.com has private forms. Private forms means you have to register, and once you register, you'll get access to all of the conversations that we're having. We'd love to have you come and join our conversation. It's getting robust. There's lots of people, and there's funny things happening, and there's serious conversations happening, and it's really neat to watch, actually. So thank you for current members, and we'd love to have you if you're thinking about it. We talk about Canadian politics. So back to the Maxime Bernier tweet roundup. Maxime Bernier tweeted yesterday, quote, "The UN is a useless joke," and he's linking to the list of the UN condemnations for 2018 from the General Assembly. So the UN General Assembly condemned Israel 21 times, and Iran once, Syria once, North Korea once, Russia once, the United States once, Algeria 0 times, China 0 times, Hamas 0 times, Pakistan 0 times. So that seems kind of strange, right? A little one-sided, a lot of condemnations for Israel, and a couple of smattered elsewhere around the globe, and some others that, maybe required a UN condemnation. And it's kind of interesting that I don't know, this is a tally at the end of the year. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Maxime Bernier is tweeting again. Did I mention it? The UN is a useless joke. And this is after there were questions, and so he possibly seen these comments, here's one. So are you saying now that we should not be a part of the UN? This is in response to his first tweet about it. And on the second one, he doubles down. Did I mention it? The UN is a useless joke. And he links to the UN Human Rights Council members. And UN Human Rights Council members include Afghanistan, China, Cuba, Congo, Iraq, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. So yeah, that's the Human Rights Council. Does that seem a little strange to anybody else? It's a little weird, right? Maybe the UN has been co-opted to somebody else's means, to push somebody else's purpose. I don't know. It doesn't seem all that balanced and fair currently, right? Is that just me, or I don't know? Am I leaping to conclusions? They tried to condemn Hamas, but they rejected that. They were like, you know what? We're not going to condemn Hamas. No. So, and if you don't know what Hamas is, please read up. I will get very sidetracked if I get into that. Maxime Bernier continues to tweet. There was an interview, a long-ranging, winding interview, or I guess wide-ranging interview, that Bernier did with the Global News, I suppose, and he's tweeting for you to read it, and we're going to read all of his tweets on that, and the link will be in the description. So Maxime Bernier says, quote, "Read about how my policy proposals are upending Quebec's and Canada's political orthodoxy in this wide-ranging interview with the Canadian press." And the second tweet is, "No other leader," it says, quote, "No other leader with ambitions in Quebec would dare say something like that in public, but for Bernier, the comments perfectly captured his big gamble. He is betting there are enough alienated voters in his home province and across the country fed up with status quo politicians." And again, link is in the description. I believe these are all the same articles, so we're looking at the highlights that Bernier wants us to look at. So here they are. Bernier again. He proposes a drastic reduction in immigration, cutting levels by more than 40% from the Liberal government's current target of 330,000 people in 2019. "I'm the only one who's saying, quote, let's take fewer immigrants," he said. "We want people to integrate. We don't want ghettos." And next one, he says, he calls his policies, quote, "smart populism," promising to shrink the size of federal government to such an extent that provinces would have no choice but to develop their own natural resources or find other ways of creating wealth. And we've talked about that on this program earlier today. My show from this morning was talking about how that was true, and that if it's packaged right, it could be a benefit, but it's going to be difficult to get his message across with the media the way it is. However, and the link is to the article here. We carry on. Maxime, quote, "A PPC government would not use federal dollars to pay for local infrastructure projects. Ontarians shouldn't be paying for provincial roads in New Brunswick," he says, "or for bridges in Quebec, or water systems in Manitoba, etc. It's just a giant vote-buying scheme." The next one. Okay, so this is a different article. No, it's not. I saw the wrong thing. It's not. It's the same article. Carrying on, another of Bernier's core principles is to make the federal equalization program less generous. Quote, "We need to change the formula to create incentives so that other provinces develop public policies that create wealth. It's a unique vision. We are the only party promoting that." And again, same same link. Quote, cutting corporate taxes would attract foreign investment and create jobs. Reducing regulation in the telecom industry and privatizing airports would open the door to competition and lower prices. And abolishing federal subsidies to corporations, he said, would save billions. Same link. Bernier cites Quebec as an example, saying the province would be more open to drilling for oil on anti-coastal island or anti-coasty island or developing its shale gas resources along the St. Lawrence Valley, if not for the cushion of equalization. And the final tweet, Scheer's claiming that cheese and milk are expensive because of taxes instead of supply management. He wants us to forget he's in the dairy cartel's pocket, that he has no principles, that he can be bought by any powerful lobby group. That's why he's lying now, to cover his tracks. And this is the hypocritical tweet that sent Canadian Twitter feeds afire yesterday. The hypocrisy of including milk and cheese when the supply management that Mr. Scheer supports is actually what inflates the price of those products, in addition to Trudeau's asinine taxes and carbon tax, et cetera, et cetera. So that's interesting. And I like that I like that Bernier is doing this with regard to the article. The article does its best to discredit him. And I've read the article and I looked at it yesterday with you guys. But they bring in an economist halfway through to talk about how what Bernier is doing is not right, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, he has to agree that the equalization system is a welfare system, and that forcing provinces to create their own wealth would be a better long-term solution. So I thought that was interesting. So check out the People's Party of Canada. Thank you very much for watching, and have an excellent evening.